Hey everyone, as part of a small series we're doing where we review Magic in 2016, we have to take a moment to talk about Commander 2016. Now, we've been brought a new Commander product each fall for years now. It's expected. Commander players freak out, Legacy players look for the next true name nemesis, some strategies are revitalized, new strategies pop up, it's all grand and awesome and wonderful. But something different has happened this time around. Not only has Commander 2016 revitalized deck building in the Commander community, it's also torn the economy to shreds, making a bigger impact than most any Commander product initially made in the last half-decade, except the first one. In this video, we're talking Commander 2016's effect on Magic financially. There's a lot to cover, so we'll get right to it. And if you enjoy videos like these and want to see more 2016 wrap-up videos, be sure to hit that like button. Helps out a lot, especially with YouTube being all sorts of stupid lately. Alright, let's do this. Before we get into the real impact this set has had so far on Magic, it's important to remind you that most of the cards affected by Commander 2016 aren't actually in Commander 2016. While the MSRP on sealed decks is $40, you can get Open Hostility for $20 sealed, Stalwart Unity for $20, Entropic Uprising for $25, and Advanced Superiority for $30, all well below MSRP. The only outlier here is Breed Lethality, which is a cool $55 online. And at this point, you have to hope a local game store or your local Walmart still has copies for MSRP to get it below $50. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Overall, the sealed product is still reasonable, again except for Breed Lethality. Crazy Phyrexians. One of the reasons these sealed products cost so little is because the next true name nemesis isn't in them, or at least hasn't been found yet. Out of all the new Commander 2016 cards, the most expensive is Deep Glow Skate. An obvious bomb in Commander, this staple still only commands a $9 price tag. Pretty reasonable considering its already absurd amount of play in the format. Next to the Skate, Magus of the Will is $5, and Conqueror's Flail is $3. Now if we're talking Commanders, Atraxa is $14, Brea is around $4, and actually the third most expensive Commander, Vial Smasher, also around $4, but actually going up, which is interesting. Besides those three cards and three Commanders, the most valuable cards in the entire set are reprints, which naturally tanked the price of themselves when they were printed, which leads us to the one financial bright spot in this video. Reprints are always a good thing. Increase supply, satisfy demand, ultimately lowers prices, and Commander 2016 actually did a pretty decent job at getting some good reprints out there. The biggest ones that come to mind are Chromatic Lantern, Colonian Hydra, and Master of Ethereum. Chromatic Lantern was around $10 a piece, Commander 2016 made it $7. Colonian Hydra, $10 a piece, $4.50 for the Commander 2016 version, and Master of Ethereum, this was huge. $14 a piece, now down to $6, and actually $3 for the Commander 2016 printing. Next to these cards, you have great value reprints like Scavenging Ooze, Lightning Greaves, Revelark, and Solemn Simulacrum. Many of these reprints are preemptive, stopping prices from going crazy before they even get a chance. These are often overlooked, but each time they reprint Soul Ring, Reliquary Tower, Swords to Plowshares, Beast Within, and more, it helps to keep these staples affordable. I mean, look at a card like Path to Exile. It now has 8 printings including promos, it's still over $10. Imagine if it didn't have even just 1 or 2 of those additional printings. Yeah, these reprints can't be ignored. They should be celebrated. And now that we're done talking about all that, it's time to jump into the deep end. Before we get knee-deep in this, let me just say, I am beyond ecstatic that more and more players are picking up Commander, deck building with it, exploring the space, that really is amazing. Commander is a wonderful format, and the more people who play it, the better. And when we talk about the Commander product making the economy go haywire, it's happening because of excited players who really want these cards. Of course, that doesn't stop what I'm about to show you from being absolutely terrifying, so here we go. Commander 2016 brought 4-color Commanders for the first time. That's awesome. What I think a lot of players didn't expect? That they'd be friggin' amazing. There's seemingly something for everyone, and as the new product is built upon and fleshed out, we see some crazy statistics and trends. Let's take Brea for example. Players see Brea, they want to build some awesome artifact goodness. Well, you can see that happening. Master Transmuter is one of the most popular adds to Brea, fitting into almost any artifact-based strategy. The Transmuter has universal artifact value, and it was only printed twice, in Conflux and Arch Enemy, so the print run isn't stellar to begin with. This huge increase in popularity and demand has led to a severe price jump, putting the card at a whopping $15 each. The graph can't keep up, and this isn't the only example of Brea's work. Phyrexian Metamorph, one of the more popular commander staples already, is on a bit of an incline thanks to seeing play in most Brea decks. This isn't a huge jump like the last card, but I felt like it was worth mentioning, especially if you're looking to get the Metamorph but haven't yet. Not sure where this is going to settle, but I felt like you should be aware. One card that isn't having incremental gains, Arcum Dagsson. Only printed in Cold Snap, you can imagine how low the supply is for this thing. A solid play in most Brea strategies, Arcum is a non-creature artifact tutor on a stick, supremely valuable for any artifact-based commander strategy. Sitting around $5 for literally 3 years, Commander 2016 has catapulted Arcum to $15 territory, almost hitting 20 at one time. A truly ridiculous price jump, but this is the effect that Brea is having on artifact staples with relatively low supply. Let me put it this way. According to EDHREC.com, which is a website that tracks all available commander deck lists online, it has Brea as the 14th most popular commander ever. Think about that. Ever. This has barely been out, a month? And already Brea is in the top 15 most played commanders. It's clear that Commander 2016 is having more of an impact on the format than anyone thought, but this isn't even the biggest issue. We'll talk about that now. Sure, Brea spiked a few cards and caused some minor jumps for others. Even Kineos and Tiro made something go up a tiny bit. Alliance of Arms, who would have thought? But anyways, each of the new commanders have had an effect on the prices of commander staples. But we've avoided the elephant in the room until now. It's time to talk about Atraxa. Your first clue should have been that Atraxa is $13, triple the price of any other commander from the set, and more expensive than any other single card from the set. But in case you don't know the full extent of the issue, Atraxa has turned Commander's economy upside down. Let me explain. When Atraxa was first spoiled, naturally players were excited. 4 powerful keywords, Proliferate was back on a stick, and she was in all the right colors. Immediately, players got to deck building. In fact, Super Friends, Stacks, the kinds of decks that can use a Proliferate engine are basically endless, and that's what happened. Atraxa comes out and people start building everything, but something happens. As deck building continues, more and more players start gravitating towards Super Friends, a type of deck designed around massing Planeswalkers and support for Planeswalkers. Most players haven't had the chance to build a deck like this and jumped at it. With Atraxa at the helm, it's hard to argue that any other commander in the entire history of Magic is better suited for this type of strategy, and it showed. We'll begin with the earliest sign of shenanigans. Doubling Season was one of the first cards to spike, already demanding a whopping $40 per copy. Atraxa Super Friends did nothing to help the cause, bringing the card to a cool $60 in the matter of a day. Doubling Season is widely known as one of, if not the best card to have in a counter-based strategy, and well, Planeswalkers love their loyalty counters. This was a no-brainer. And the card was always popular, so most players shrugged it off. But then, other signs started to show. Contagion Engine, a sub-$5 rare from Scars of Mirrodin since ever, went absolutely crazy, spiking to over $10 a copy. And it's not like no one opened Scars of Mirrodin. Contagion Engine was one of those cards that people had 10 of. This was the card you were disappointed to get when you were searching for a Sword of Body and Mind or a Koth. It's at about this time that players started paying more attention. The problem? With more attention, more players jumped on the Atraxa bandwagon, realizing that the deck was just too much fun not to play. Enter Chaos Mode. Teferi Temporal Archmage, a Commander 2014 commander who you can still find at Target or Walmart, jumped to over $20 initially and then settled at around $15 solely due to inclusion in Atraxa. That ultimate though, savage. But it wasn't just Teferi. The Chain Veil went up 300% for a time after settling in the middle. Ajani Steadfast and Ajani Mentor of Heroes saw around 30% gains as key planeswalkers in the strategy. Even remotely playable cards like Wargate are seeing gains. Small gains, sure, but for a Wargate, any uptick in value is worth noting. The latest Atraxa victim? Spike Weaver. Living a sub $5 life for years and years and years, last week the Weaver hit $15. $15! That doesn't even make sense. Players rushed to grab Spike Weaver as it's now included in a ton of Atraxa decks due to its powerful counter-based abilities. What's funny is you don't even need to be a Super Friends piece to see action due to Atraxa. Look at Skittles, the Blight Dragon. Sure, this isn't a gigantic jump, but Skittles hasn't made any real moves in well over a year. Anyone building Atraxa Infect is building it with Skitherix. So while the effect clearly isn't as intense as some other cards, it shows Atraxa has some wide-reaching popularity. Let me blow your mind for a second. EDHREC.com, the site that aggregates all commander decks from tapped out or deck stats, you ready for this? They have Atraxa as the third most popular commander of all time. Third. Think about that. Let that sink in. Of all available deck lists online, of any commander out there, Atraxa is third, behind only Aloro and Marin. And guess what? Atraxa isn't even that far behind, catching up to each of them every day. The influx of commander players due to these new 4-color commanders is insanity. Here's some context. There are more deck lists for Atraxa than for Nekasar the Mindraiser. There are more deck lists for Atraxa than for Kaalia, or Carador, or Animar, or Sidisi Brew Tyrant. Somehow, in 1 month, Atraxa has been able to supplant all of them. So when you see these price spikes, when you see these cards going out of stock or jumping up for no apparent reason, I don't think calling it a buyout is the right word. I think it's a sellout. There are clearly a ton of players who want these cards, and guess what? There aren't infinite copies to go around, so you see the effects of that. Crazy world we live in. I think that's going to do it for this 2016 wrap-up video. What do you think? Have you tried building any of the Commander 2016 commanders yet? Let me know which ones and what you built. I love hearing about new exciting Commander decks. The format's basically awesome. And if you like these 2016 wrap-up videos, please let me know which topics you'd like to see covered in the next few weeks as the year comes to a close. I truly hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. While Breed Lethality is $1 million, the other Commander 2016 precons are not. Event Superiority, led by the 14th most popular commander in Magic, is only $30 shipped right to your door. Cheaper than any big box store, super great deal. Want something cheaper? How about the entire Open Hostility commander deck? Ready to play right now for only $20 shipped. $20 for an entire good commander deck. If you need some goodness in your life, you can click the links to buy these. It helps the channel. Everyone wins. Yay!